Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome back to the 1313 podcast. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
Welcome back to all you Regs, to all you Shinies. Welcome to the podcast. This is the podcast. Please, before we begin, make sure that you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, click the join button to support us on YouTube, and check out the Patreon link down below. There's 3 tiers, 3 ways to support us on Patreon, and one of those 1313 tier, we do giveaways. Jackson, what are we giving away?
We're giving away this Target exclusive Oppo of the new awesome clone body, which is totally rad, and you need like 1 million of these now.
So if you want it, make sure that you support us on Patreon. We'd really appreciate it. Also, make sure that you follow us on all our social media, that being Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Not Twitter, X. I do that every single time.
X.
But yeah, boys, how's the week?
I just want to say on the Commander Appo thing, on my Instagram page, at 1313 Tommy's Collection, for some reason I posted a picture of a bunch of Appos at Target, and then it got like yak face level likes. And
Dang, like, bro.
And then I don't know why though.
That's kind of
It was
funny.
Just a picture of...
Did everybody think you bought them?
No. That was wild.
That was awful to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're just a bunch of scalpers.
According to all these people that will never watch our content.
Question for you. Is it scalping if you buy a bunch online? Like if you buy 40 of a figure online, is it scalping?
Yes.
Why are you buying 40?
I say no.
It is
What?
if you're doing it with the idea to resell them. That's what scalping at its core is. If you're buying 40 of them because you want 40 of them to army build, that
there's people that legitimately do that. If you're doing it,
it's a lot, but it's fine.
That's like fine. I mean, that's the whole that's like the definition of scalping.
Yeah.
You're buying a crap ton so you can resell it later.
There was a dude that Hunter, our good friend 212 Hunter, gets customs from that bought 40 Phase 2 of the new Phase 2 clones online to make customs because he wants to redo all of his own customs with the new clone body. So I said that was not scalping because like you said, he's doing it for his own his own thing.
Yeah, it's because he wants them and he's going to use them for something. It's not like he's trying to sell them.
Plus,
so he's fine.
I feel like scalping more is for like physical stores. Like if you take all the figures from a store to sell them online,
or if
it's online too.
There's the people that bought releases so they can buy them and resell them.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when people scalped pre-orders?
That's what I mean, bro. Is if a figure sells out and then people resell the pre-orders on Mercari on eBay, that's online scalping.
If you go on eBay right now, there's pre-orders that are selling for $800 for the Ghost, the TVC Ghost.
I can't
That's different. That's
how do bro?
I can't.
What is? Tell me the logic.
That.
You thought you weren't going to spend $500 when the campaign was going on, and then after the campaign ended, you spent $800.
Granted, you got people like me who legitimately missed out because now I could now, in the right sense, do a payment plan on a Ghost. I couldn't then.
Oh, so we're doing payment plans now.
$500. $8. Anyways, dude, so my week's going good.
I gotta get the canes.
I've been working.
What are you using canes?
Raising Canes? It's a restaurant.
Oh, I've no
Fell over here, never been down south.
I have. I just never been to a Raising Canes.
I heard it's
I like
good,
raisins though.
But
I heard Post Malone has one.
That's cool. But
we just continue.
Yeah. So my week's been good. Been working. I recorded a bunch of reviews last night for holiday figures, and I could only make one of them, which already came out. So go check that out. But the other two, my lights were all messed up, and it was too bright, and I couldn't get it to look good. So it was like all overexposed because the figures were white. Yeah. And so it was just. I'm just gonna redo them. But I have approximately between 15 and 20 reviews I need to record. So I'm going to be posting on our social media asking you guys which ones you want to see first.
Heck yeah, dude. Cool. I really want to get the reviews out for those Clone Wars figures. I told them, but I sat down to do them in my old room and the lighting was just really, really, really bad. Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on with me this week. I'm moving into a new apartment, so I'll try the lighting there. If it isn't great, I'll just do it here. I'll make some time to shoot them here in the studio so that they actually like look good to do.
What about your week?
Well, that was the big thing that I have going on. We're in finals week right now. It's torture. It's pain.
You're in finals?
Basically. I mean, it's like
final projects
right now. Or like I have one every week that's due.
Okay.
The one I need to do is a video, so I need to come back to the studio here and record that.
Dude, what's the video?
It's about atheism. It's for my atheism class.
Dude, do you want multicam 3-point lighting edited in Premiere at 4K?
Give me a minute. I'm gonna like sneeze, dude.
I thought he was like getting ready for a bit.
I thought he was gonna make fun of me. I was like, wow.
I ask you how to take like clips from a YouTube video and put them in our own video. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I need help
Dude,
with that.
I thought you were looking over here and then you're gonna wait and then you're gonna go, who asked?
No,
yeah,
dude,
I was thinking too.
It was like a big one coming too. Like I could feel.
I was
like,
dude, I just offered to help you. I was like, the disrespect that's about to be found upon me.
Do I need to go to Edinburgh for it?
No, I can bring the stuff here.
I was gonna say I could go to Edinburgh for it. I'm fine with that.
If you
Red
want.
or green?
I just need to make a date and tell you in advance that
green.
if that's cool. I need to write the script, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's just basically. I might do this as a patron thing if anybody cares. I did it last year for one of my final videos.
You did a project for a Patreon.
But this one is supposed to be about like why atheism and people who don't identify with a religion are like a growing statistic in America.
Well, you can actually post videos straight to Patreon now, so instead of having to private it on YouTube. Yeah.
Well, I might just private on YouTube because I need to send it to my teacher.
That's what I do for our beautiful patrons. The last couple weeks, I've been putting up the videos right on Patreon.
No, I should put it on Patreon and tell my teacher she needs to become a patron and able to see the video.
$20 fee.
$20 fee to watch my
Cough
video.
What about you, Jacob?
What question for your video with YouTube? Are you just throwing a YouTube video into the mix, or you like want the video to play while you're speaking under it?
It would be like me talking clips of something, me talking like clips, but I have to
Like B-roll?
explain. Yeah.
Oh,
So just explain it while the video's going. Anyway.
Okay.
yeah.
Anywho, my week's been pretty boring.
I'm sorry, baby.
Just work in school and schoolwork. Today I was telling Tommy tonight I was editing for the past 3-4 hours before we came back to do this. The Glory Days film that I'm working on, I have to do the dialogue editing. So that entire thing is I just have to make everybody sound pretty and make sure everything's like fine. And it's a pain in the butt because 2 people have body mics, which is a microphone that's like right here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good audio. And then one of the guys, because we didn't have enough, has a boom mic.
Oh.
So it's like a mic that you're holding like this and it's just above him, but it sounds really echoey. So I originally spent 2-3 hours trying to make his mic sound better. And then I talked to my professor about it. He's like, there's no way to make it better. You're going to have to make everybody else sound worse. And I'm like, that stinks. But apparently there was one take that he did all the way through with the body mic on.
Oh.
So then Brian was like, yeah, you can use that, but you're just going to have to try to lip sync it. So it's a different take on video than it is in the sound.
He probably delivered the lines.
He was our best actor. He's like really consistent. Like, so his delivery's pretty much the same every time. There's just a couple places where it's not the same and I can't get it to sync at all. So I was sitting there and I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't get this to work. And I'm like, oh, there's got to be an AI solution for this. There's got to be. And of course there was one by Adobe.
ChatGPT.
It's basically the ChatGPT of audio. Basically, it just takes it takes your roomy, crummy camera audio and then uses AI to clean it up, clear it, and then bass boost it.
That's impressive.
So I use that. It sounds a little bit robotic, but if I turn the volume down and I add reverb to it to make it sound like it's in the space, it actually sounds pretty good. So I was like, oh, that's gonna save me like 4 hours of torture. So basically, all of his lines are almost done. I have like five more lines to do. I just had to come home so we could do this.
That's fair. Are you going to go back there after this?
Tonight, no. I'm going to go in early tomorrow and just do it in the morning. Finish up his lines because I have to show Brian the workflow and I have to show him how it sounds because if he thinks it's not good enough, then I have to scrap all that work and then I have to do the ADR stuff. We're using the other lines from another take, but then I have to like slow it down and speed it up. Instead of this, I'm just like chopping it. So like reading his lips, so it like works fine. But like it's definitely the most difficult thing I've ever had to do in Premiere.
Right.
It's tough. It's really tough and tedious.
Dopeness monster though.
Other than that, I got to reshoot my the interview for my documentary because something happened with the footage and we got to reshoot. So that's happening on Sunday.
Always save on a flash drive.
Well, no, there's like I was telling you about this. There's this thing called the 180 rule.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
were
that
telling
you
me
have to
about
film on basically just one side of somebody's face.
that. Yeah.
And one of our cameras is in a bad position, so we broke it. So now we have to reshoot it. But in hindsight, it's probably a good thing because I can ask better questions and get better content for the doc now.
Yeah.
But it does put us a week behind schedule, so we gotta make that up. But on top of those, and drawing naked women in class with Malcolm, we got nothing else going on.
Nice. So we have a couple topics to discuss here on the show this week. The first of which is a bit of news that came out today as of recording
today.
this.
Yes.
If you're a big convention goer, or if you have any knowledge of like Star Wars centered conventions,
Or
you would
conventions
know
that we've gone to.
you know about ICCC is
The best con.
the big Star Wars con that is what it is like what Star Wars Celebration was before a corporation bought and took over Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's mostly like Star Wars. I mean, you guys speak on it better than I can.
Yeah, it's all Star
Literally
Wars
the best.
collectibles. There's Star Wars guests, panels, things like that, things to do, but most of it's just like collectibles booths.
Yeah.
And like some creators and like things like that. But it's a wonderful con that we got invited to we did press at this summer, and we were hoping to go next summer,
But it appears the owner of it, or one of the owners I should say, posted a video today because they moved the location from the convention area that it was last year. Long story short, they couldn't rent it, too expensive. The people in the state were jerks because they want to use it for hunting and farming shows. So it's back at the hotel, but he has to rent out the entire hotel for the con, so now it isn't going to be until October. Wah, wah.
So I mean, it's just a rough month for
Yeah.
us, especially with all the stuff that our dad does around that planning and stuff. It's also gonna be tough for Jackson because he was planning on moving to another.
So yeah, I might not be on the mainland anymore. We don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
but
be wild.
it'd be kind of funny.
So yeah, then it would literally,
Kinda
for me at
funny.
least, it would be paying $2,000 to go back and forth for a flight just to ICC, and I'm like, crap. Which
Not me though.
It was good originally because, like I said before, the apartment that I'm moving into, the original lease was supposed to expire like literally right as I graduated.
Yeah.
But one of the cool realtors that we're working with pushed it till the end of May for us.
Dope.
So that would have been ideal because I could have finished up school, graduated, commissioned, gone to ICC, come back in town, and had like a week until I needed to worry about moving. But now it's like, crap, that's all out the window because it's not even happening during this month.
Right.
Yeah, so
So that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I guess that this con was at the Sheridan Hotel
Yes, it
before
was,
they
yeah.
moved to this other venue.
and then it was at the Bethlehem, Tennessee State Fairgrounds, and it's a multiple building complex.
Yes.
Run by the mayor and like a governor or something, and they were
and
like,
the mayor wouldn't let him back.
because they were like, we want hunting and fishing, not a bunch of nerds. So he's just a jerk. So
Thank you, Congressman. Thank
Yeah.
you, bureaucrats.
yeah,
So-
thank you, bureaucrats. But it's whatever. It's still gonna be a good time. I've heard though that it was a little cramped.
That's what I'm worried about because that was the biggest complaint people told us was that the Sheraton, it was a bit cramped, and it's only growing more and more.
Yeah.
But I guess part of the lure of having it at an entire hotel and renting it there is he was even talking in the video how you can literally just keep your vendors going basically out through the night. You could
Yeah.
sell out your room if you want.
He said he wants to rent out the entire
Yes.
every room of every building so that people going to the con can stay right there in that building and they can like trade with each other right in the hallways. I guess that was a thing before.
Yep.
And he said too that way there's everyone that's there is only there for ICCC.
Yep.
No one there is just there for like, oh, I'm just on a
like
vacation.
a business
Or,
occasion.
yeah, like
which would make it perfect too.
and so yeah, like Jackson said, the guy was saying that it'll be like a 24-hour a day con for 3 days. So
that would be a little intense in my opinion.
it would be a
That's
lot of
still-
fun. I feel like it'd be fun. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious to see who's going to be there. If they have really, really, really good guests like the Clone Wars, then I might just find a way to fork over the money and fly. Well, because part of the issue too is I need to see what my drill schedule is for that month because then if it's on a day where I have to do my government required duties, I would be arrested if I
Just
didn't
call
show
off
up.
sick.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
Use a sick day.
Just use a sick day, brother.
But
But if anything, if I'm trying to look at it from a positive light, if anything, just gives me a lot more time to save money for the con.
That is the good plus.
You know?
And now I don't have to work around it with my grand scheme of summer that I'm trying to put together. Me, my buddy Jared and Ryan are trying to put together a cross-country road trip this summer.
Oh, wow.
Where we hit our main places that we want to hit are Yellowstone and that valley.
Yeah.
And then we want to hit the Rockies, and then we want to hit LA. Because we know there's a lot of people that we want to network with in LA. And if I could, I would be like, hey, Vanessa, Marshall, you want to get lunch? But yeah, I'm trying to get the ball rolling and trying to find out how much we're going to need for everything. But no, that's what we're going to do. That we're going to film it all, obviously, and make a film out of it. It should be fun. It's probably going to be like a month long, if anything. So, well, we'll see. I'm trying to get it going. The wheels are really slow, but I feel like once I have something,
dude, it's that age old meme when the plans make it out of the group chat.
Boys, bro.
It makes it out of the group chat.
Shout out to our one road trip that we had.
That was a fun trip.
It was so much fun.
You still have all the video.
I have all of that footage. I just don't. My computer isn't powerful enough to edit it.
Now we have it.
But I can edit it at school. The only thing is I have to move it from micro SD to like a USB or something, or to a SD card.
Huge deal.
Well, I don't have a micro SD slot. Is the only thing.
Oh.
At like the computers at school.
You can just buy an adapter. That's probably cheap.
Or not. I don't know.
But yes, that's the scoop on ICCC. So get ready. It's going to be in probably. It sounds like the guy already knows the days, but I looked at their website. He's not going to be officially announcing it until December 1st. Is when he'll announce the days in October. But
because he said he needs to finalize the reservation, because if people start buying the rooms and then people who aren't going to be with the con start buying the rooms, then it could be a problem.
Yeah, right.
That's why he has to wait and hold off.
And the second press stuff comes out, I'm applying.
We'll jump on it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're
so. But yeah, so that's the scoop on ICCC. So if you wanted to check out all of the vlogs that Jacob and Jackson did over those 3 days, that was pretty good. Those were fun to watch from home. I felt like I was there.
Hopefully by next ICC, I'll have a new camera. Then I'll actually be.
That would be fun.
I want to get a camera and get a microphone on that.
Record on the stories.
Oh, dude, of course. It's gonna be so easy to just like walk around and just.
And then there is the Star Wars Celebration Japan in spring of 2025.
That's a stretch.
So
that is very much a stretch.
I know that myself, my dad, Hybrid,
right next to
and
Japan, though.
212th Hunter, we are all like actually probably gonna go. So I'm putting money away just a little bit here and there for now. But once we start getting in those final like 6 months, I'm gonna start like just throwing money into a savings account so I can dump myself into that trip. I guess Hunter is staying like an extra week.
Dang,
he said,
bro.
so we can like just check out Japan.
That would be pretty cool.
But I mean, it's a cool country. And if I were to travel somewhere like that,
it's on my bucket list of places to go.
It's dope. It's very dopeness monster.
Dopeness monster.
I want it to happen.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens. There's a lot of time between now and then. Again, we have all of 2024. Just to save for a trip like that.
Yeah.
Tickets don't even go on sale till like less than 6 months before. So
that is true. That is true.
Yeah. So this week, Jackson came up with this week's topic for a podcast.
I didn't really. I kind of took it from Cook and his suggestions.
Yeah.
Because I went through that. I'll pull up the front, bro. I'm not even going to recite this accurately.
Accurately?
I got like a little dollop of phlegm in the back of my throat.
All right. Nice. So the topic for this week that Cook suggested was, what are some Star Wars moments or maybe things, symbols, people that inspire us in our own lives?
Nice noodles.
Please be serious.
Hey, baby.
Well, I think the obvious one for me is my tattoo. My J guys, my Captain Rex J guys on my arm. Captain Rex is although I do say that Captain Fordo could beat Captain Rex in a fight, like a fist-to-fist fight.
Where's your Fordo tattoo, poser?
I do think that Captain Rex is a very special character to me. I mean, he always has been, but I went through a lot of growth in my life between like 2020 and like 2022, right when we started the podcast, was in the midst of that. Went through a lot of big changes, a lot of difficult obstacles I had to climb, in my personal life, mentally, physically. And I got myself to a really strong point. And a big part of that, which I commemorated with the tattoo, was Captain Rex. Rex and his character are super important to me in that he believes in doing what's right and what's doing right for other people, even if it's going to be frowned upon by some. You see that in the Umbara arc, when people are crying out for help, even though it's a violation of an order, Rex does what he feels is right, and he follows his gut. And that's what I try to do when I go to work every day is if I see someone that needs help, don't be lazy. Don't do the cookie cutter response. That happens, and that's every job you're going to work ever. Is you're always going to find people that are lazy and that just want to go the shortcut way. And yeah, sometimes it sucks to do the extra paperwork and go the extra mile and stay the extra hours. But I think that Captain Rex, especially as a kid, that's been a message that's always stuck with me is to stick to my guns, and if I have a gut feeling about something, it's right. And for me, that's why Captain Rex is so important. So I'd say that's a character on my part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. I was going to say, I forgot to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this too. This is kind of stuff that we've touched on before, but something that we thought we would revisit at least because we have a lot newer of an audience.
Yeah,
because
there's a K of you now. There's a whole band.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of you. And I'm pretty sure we talked about this at like 100 or 200 subs. When the show first started, at least. This is like extremely old content.
Definitely before 500.
Rehashing.
Oh, quit it.
Reruns.
Jacob, what about you?
The first thing that comes to mind is the sign of the phoenix, if we're going for symbols.
Yeah. I feel like symbols are the easiest thing to connect to.
Right.
Well, I could cop out and say the chimera, just because that's also my tattoo. But although I just think the chimera really looks cool and it just represents my favorite character.
Right.
But I think the sign of the phoenix for Ghost Squadron is it's probably my favorite symbol just because it's at most it's a symbol of hope for throughout everything, no matter how dark and pivotal it may seem, and no matter how low you feel like you are, it's a reason to get back up. It's a phoenix rising from the ashes and the embers. It's a good look up. There's more to life. There's more. Your story's not done yet, so. I think it's a really, really good symbol. We have it signed by the lady that voices Sabine.
Jessica, shout out.
Specifically this one over the classic Rebel Alliance.
Yeah,
symbol.
this one is infinitely better. I really do not like the original Rebels logo at all.
Interesting.
I guess you could also say the symbol of the Jedi from the Age of the Republic. It's pretty much the same symbol and it means the same thing.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good one. I know kind of a common theme that I hit a lot on. So Fives and his 5 symbol. I knew this was going to happen if I talked about it. Thank you, Jacob. But his symbol honestly is really meaningful for me. A lot of the same stuff as Tommy though. It's how when I look at my future career, for the Army, I always want to be able to, do the right thing, no matter what. I feel like that's a huge lesson that I learned a lot through my training and then through experiences that I've had as well, is that the most successful people don't always, continuously obey orders, because when you only do that, then you're only doing stuff for your personal betterment. You don't really care about the people that you work with. And that's really why I kind of want to go to the route I did in the Army, is because the more I looked at jobs like Intel or... it's raining out. Wow.
Did you close your sunroof?
I did. We're not talking about it. But the more I looked at jobs like Intel and infantry, which I really wanted to do when I first got to college, I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. And just over time, I was like, do I really want to sit in a room all day and look at a computer or read books? Or do I really just want to tell people to go over there and do something? And it just really didn't seem interesting or meaningful to me, considering that my obligation is for 8 years. So I might as well do something in my life for 8 years that I consider meaningful. And to go the chaplain route was the best, in my opinion, because then that gives me the ability then to kind of connect with soldiers one-on-one and really help mentor them and teach them the lessons that I've learned in my life, but then so they can also better themselves in their situation in and out of the service as well. So that's something that's really just kind of very prominently stuck with me, is the good soldiers follow orders, like getting out of that mentality. Like I joke around with my buddies when we're told to do something stupid. I'm like, good soldiers follow orders, man. You gotta just do it, which is kind of the joke of itself, but still, that's always meant the most to me.
Yeah. Well, kind of connecting to that too, there was a line that when I watched a Clone Wars movie, like from that day in 2008, it has always stuck with me, and it's when Rex tells Ahsoka, experience outranks everything. And in my line of work, I have found that to be incredibly true, but I also feel like it is applied to every stage of my life, you know, especially like coming from a college education. People can sit in a classroom, especially with like, and you guys have both taken classes with like social sciences and stuff like that. Like,
I'm in a criminal justice class.
It's so easy to sit in a classroom and have no field experience and to say, yeah, and here's the solution, and here's how people should behave, and here's how they should react to these circumstances, and this is what makes sense. And they're not wrong, but the truth of the matter is, like, you know, and without, I can't think of a better way to put it other than when shit hits the fan.
You could say poop.
You're going to, your fight or flight is going to kick in. Either that, or I could also say your fight or flight or freeze. I've seen it time and time again. You know, I've only been working my job right now for 6 months, a little more than that. But I think honestly that it really shines true. And like you said, with Fives and with Rex, you know, you can say that, you know, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But when things get real and it's actually going down right in front of you, you see who's actually serious about their job, and you see who actually cares about the people around them and stuff. So that's just something.
Yeah. I even feel like, at least for myself, and I'm probably speaking for all of us here, is that the best advice that we've been given and the best moments that we can reflect on in Star Wars have always been from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Whether it's been the little fortune cookies at the beginning of the episode, or the really silly, goofy episode that actually has a very serious underlining tone to it that teaches us a good lesson throughout the way. I feel like the Clone Wars is one of my best sources of knowledge about leadership and how to treat people right. I said that once in one of my classes too, giving a presentation, that all my wisdom about leadership is from the Bible and the Clone Wars. Which was funny because my teacher was like, that's pretty nerdy, but it's good.
Yeah, man, the Clone Wars has so much stuff in that show, and it's just, there's so many little things that I take from it every day. And honestly, I will say, like, the Bad Batch, a more recent Star Wars show, has really ingrained in me how important it is, as a man, how important emotion is, and how important it is to not bottle things up and to not, you know, and just express how I feel. And you can do it in a mature way instead of just waiting and waiting until you just explode because you're just holding it in and holding it in. I think that the Bad Batch really has reinforced that, which has always been a thing that I've tried to work on. But that's a good show for young viewers, and specifically I would say male viewers, because it teaches you, like, yeah, you can be a soldier, you can be like a badass, but that doesn't mean that you have to be emotionless, specifically like with Tech in the most recent season of the show. He really grapples with learning that there's more to life than just achieving objectives.
And then he dies.
And he dies. And that's what makes it a very striking death, though, is because he learns something and you connect with him through learning something.
Another good, Star Wars is really good at teaching you how to deal with your losses, too.
Yes.
They do that a lot. It's perfected in Rebels, while you see the entire Ghost crew all go through their different variations of dealing with grief, with Ezra basically praying about it, and then Zeb and Sabine wanting to lash out and hurt people, and then Hera wanting to just grieve the loss and just be recluse. You see all different types of grieving with loss. I think, though, probably the best example in all of Star Wars is Kylo Ren.
Oh.
Kylo Ren has I think the most underrated story arc in all of Star Wars right now. With the killing of his father, thinking that it was the main thing that he needed to surmise and surpass his own dark will. He kills him, and then he goes an entire movie just trying to be like, I have it all together. I'm the big bad now. And then, like, throughout that process, he finds out, never had a hold of anything. He was never pulling the strings. He's been a puppet the whole time, and he's so frustrated and so conflicted about this. We get that wonderful scene of this, not a Force ghost. We have an entire discussion about this on the podcast about how it's a visual way of displaying an internal affair between Kylo and his conflicted feelings of, is he on the right side? And Han Solo appears to him to kind of be that mentor through that point. Probably a really good way to point this out is if anybody has seen the show Once Upon a Time, major spoilers if you're gonna watch it, and like season 5 or 6, I can't remember which one I'm on. One of the characters named Hook becomes the Dark One, which is basically the epitome of evil in these.
The Antichrist?
Essentially. And when he gets basically put in this little like world where he's like now the Dark One, he's mentored by a demon in his head, which is just another one of the characters. But he's not really there. It's just an inward battle being shown visibly. So it's the same thing that you see in episode 9, which I think is a really good thing, because then it's like, oh, just your pain is just, you just got to let it go. He's like, you can't hold on to your losses forever. You can't hold on to your pain forever and let it shape who you are. You need to let go eventually. Yeah. So that's a really good lesson that Star Wars can teach you, because I know a lot of people that something hurt them or somebody hurt them and they act like they're okay, but like every so often like it bubbles to the surface and it's just like they're very resentful. They don't know how to forgive or forget, and sometimes it's just detrimental to your own health. You just gotta let it go. Be the bigger person, or just come to peace with yourself.
Yeah. Right now I'm rewatching the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and
that trash TV show.
and that's one thing that I think that the show really did well, was showing how Obi-Wan is dealing with his trauma of everything that he had to deal with in Revenge of the Sith. And you see it's been 10 years and he's not dealing with it well. And you see that he's rejecting everything. There's a young Jedi.
He quite literally buried it in the sand.
Yeah. There's a young Jedi that comes up to talk to him, like looking into him as a mentor, and he just turns him away, and
he dies.
Yeah. And I think that also shows, Obi-Wan is trying to bottle everything up and just like hide it, instead of trying to.
He's hiding in the desert.
Instead of trying to face his fears. And they say that.
Poetry, it rhymes.
Isn't that the line that Luke says to Rey in The Rise of Skywalker? Confronting fear is the destiny of a Jedi. I think that's the line. That's a really good line.
Yeah.
That is a really good one.
Yeah, see, even just kind of hitting on one of your earlier points too, I feel like one of the best expressions of just like grief and like allowing emotion to like just happen is when season 7 of the Clone Wars, Rex and Ahsoka on the Venator and the Mountain Crash, and Rex cries. Yeah. Because you have this almost infallible character, if you will say, who's a certified badass in every way of life. He's certified, super cool, relatable. He's an awesome character. Tommy even got him tattooed. But then in this moment, he lets his emotion go, and he's no longer like this amazing character, I guess that you say. He becomes human, and you finally like emotionally connect with Rex. This was really, I connected with that a whole lot more when I was first getting to college. We had to read a book called The Aeneid. I would 100% recommend it. It's one of the best books I've ever read. There's a character called Aeneas, and basically he's leading the Trojans out of Troy after it's been ransacked. And there's plenty of like moments where like he's supposed to be this very tough leader of this group of people, but then he's very emotional about them too. They die and he grieves, and he cares for people as well. And I feel like that's supposed to show how true leadership is, and Rex displays true leadership in that way too, that he doesn't care that all of his brothers and best friends are about to die. He does care, and he's physically and emotionally showing it in that moment.
Yeah.
Hey man, Jesus wept.
That is factual. Shortest line in the Bible.
We this one time when I was at our small group that I do with the guy I'm producing that movie with, he wanted to do this exercise where basically you practice preaching. So you were given a verse, you were given 10 minutes to read it, interpret it, and then give a short message on it. And then the one I got was like dying daily to like the word, and I made it. I opened it with, all right, this verse says "kill yourself." I thought that was pretty funny, but I made Zach do an entire 10 minutes on "He wept." And I thought that was pretty funny.
That is interesting.
Do you guys know Cliff? I think it's Netchell. You pronounce his last name. He's always like on TikTok because he's at college campuses and stuff. It's this
Oh,
dude.
yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, he's got some good stuff.
I really like what he has to say, like all the time. Like I think that he does a good job of taking like, because that's the other thing that I think with Star Wars you get a lot of is people calling it soft. I think that was a big issue I had with Book of Boba Fett. You had a lot of people who were fans of Boba Fett that were
soft
were calling him soft, and they were calling him like Bob instead of Boba. Like, oh, I just reject that. And that's, again, it's back in like the 80s and the 90s, that character archetype, the one that was like the dark, brooding, like quiet one that just like never feels anything. That was that character. That character was popular back then.
Yeah.
And now I think that it's just not realistic. And I think that it's cool that they took a character like Boba Fett and they showed that he has vulnerability.
Exactly. That's the whole part of making a person relatable and human to begin with. Not everyone's the dark, mysterious person. Or even if they are, you end up finding stuff about them and then they become just a better person later.
Even a character like John Wick. Like, the whole reason that John Wick goes on his crazy badass spree is because someone killed his dog.
That's
Well, not just that. It's because he loves somebody so much, and his grieving was interrupted.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean.
I watch those movies.
That's so you know. You
If
can try
any
to
of you
argue.
want to donate the
Oh
John
my
Wick hot
gosh.
toy to Jacob, leave a comment with your bank number, your routing information,
no.
your social security.
Don't do that.
That's wild.
That was not funny.
What? I thought it was funny.
Yeah, that was kind of
no.
that was my.
Cringy.
That's it. I'm taking the handle.
No, give me my handle back. Jacob, give me the handle back from the water bottle.
Your handle's been confiscated.
While it looks like I'm inappropriately touching my
He
brother,
is.
we'll keep talking.
He is. He's grabbing my handle.
Jacob, please. Jacob, please. Jacob, please. But at any rate.
Sweet home Alabama.
So that was my. That was my big thing with Book of Boba was, and I think we see that a lot right now. Is that doesn't make a character weak just because they're vulnerable, you know?
Yeah.
Do you
The
have
male
Need some help there,
character
brother.
is not. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna get it.
Do you have
The-
trouble there?
Shut up. The male character isn't masculine and strong, and they're slightly emotional. Disney's making it soy. The soy conspiracy. Corporate soy. That's a conspiracy I can talk to you about later. But I mean, again, I feel like it's very much. A lot of the complaints about characters being emotional are because people from that era and of that crowd are like, oh no, this character isn't exactly how I remember them. They
Yeah.
grew as a person and they changed, and that's how people are supposed to be. And again, it makes the content better when it's relatable to people. And it's, I don't know. Star Wars is just made perfectly. It's got really good lessons in it. It's flawless in my opinion.
Sometimes there's a miss, but that's the difference though. Is like you have to take it as a whole instead of dialing in on the one little thing, and that's another big complaint that I'm seeing. What are you doing?
He's just messing around with the phone.
I'm seeing a lot of online discourse again about the whole Star Wars is dead and blah blah blah, and I really don't I think it's honestly, I think everybody needs to stop having that argument on social media, because the people that are saying Star Wars is dead are just trying to get likes and views on social media because there's no new Star Wars content right now, and they need something to talk about.
And as soon as new Star Wars content comes out, they will hate on it.
Yeah,
because they need likes.
and that gives them content. So, but because there's no content for them to hate on right now, they're just gonna make the argument that we've had a dozen times, which is Star Wars is dead, Star Wars is woke, Star Wars sucks, and then you get all the discourse online. It's like, why are you even talking about it, dude? Just let the haters hate. I don't see how you could hate from outside the club. You can't even get in.
I just don't understand the people that are like, oh, I'm a Star Wars fan, but they never have anything nice to say about Star Wars. It's like, are you though? Are you just a Star Wars hater that wears the t-shirts?
Look at that. That's another thing that Star Wars has taught me that I've tried to keep in mind every day.
Merchandise, everything.
Is the idea of perspective. There's some really impactful Clone
From a certain
Wars
points of
and
view.
Bad Batch episodes that talk about perspective, where you deal with characters that used to be separatists, and there's people that used to be from the Republic that are helping each other now to fight the Empire. with that though, I mean, looking from that perspective of that person, look at all those people, and I'm not going to name any of them to give them any clout, but look at all the people that they watch on YouTube. You know which ones I'm talking about. That they watch all these videos that say, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but only of the first 6 movies, because I hate everything else, and blah, blah, blah. That becomes synonymous with the identity of being a Star Wars fan to that person. So, of course, that's why we get those people that are super cringe when they come sit down on like an open mic or something at a convention. Yeah. And we're like, hey, like, what's your favorite character? And they just go on a rant about everything they hate. And it's like that, they think that that is synonymous with liking Star Wars.
It's kind of sad.
It is.
Why not enjoy something? Why not actually enjoy something? I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, I think the hardest task for all 3 of us to do in a podcast is not to mention is to not mention the Clone Wars or the prequels or the Bad Batch for a single
but that's
episode.
what we grew up with. So when you talk about Star Wars, we're subject matter experts.
I was just sitting here, I'm like, unless we're like talking about a new episode, we always talk about the Clone Wars.
Dude, it's my stuff though, man.
It's the go.
Y'all gotta read some Star Wars books.
I am.
Which one?
Legends. Someone say
Thrawn, bro. I'm not reading Legends.
That's my Star Wars. That's my toxic Star Wars identity. Is anytime someone says Legends, I go, I start honk shoeing right at you.
As soon as somebody tells me to read Legends, I go, no. In blissful ignorance, I go, no.
For the longest time, I was with you guys, but then I read Heir of the Empire, and then I read Red Harvest and Death Troopers, and I want to read Maul Lockdown, and I read the Darth Maul biography, and it's like, It's just fun. It's just a lot of fun.
Sorry, ignorance is bliss.
All right, bro. Let me hit you with this one. Is there anything from those books that's super inspirational to you?
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
So if we're going off just like chat inspiration, it's no secret that I want to be a filmmaker and work on Star Wars.
Wait, what?
So
since when?
Oh my gosh, dude, where were you?
What?
But no, the Heir of the Empire books is definitely a really, really good treasure trove of just inspiration for things that I want to make, like with the characters of Thrawn and things like that. But also, I would love to I think out of all the characters in those books, Talon Card, which is another smuggler type character, another reluctant hero archetype, is one of my favorite characters. I just like the reluctant hero. It's such a good archetype that I like a lot. But he's just a really good character. I think he's really fascinating. He basically mentors Mara Jade and runs like a crime ring during this age of like the New Republic and like working with the Empire and then the New Republic until Thrawn pushes his hands too far, and then everything's like about gambling with him. So it's like, I think he's such a cool character, and I would love for you guys to experience him. So it's like the only way to do that is through film. So I think Talon Card would be a great character to bring in someday. Mara Jade obviously would be such a fun character to do. How it would work though with the current Star Wars canon, I don't think it would work.
I got one word for you.
Death.
Multiverse.
No.
Ka-chow.
No, absolutely not. But I think that's those things are really good. And then just Lando Calrissian is such a good character in those books. He's not just like
like post Return of the Jedi Lando?
Yeah, he's not just there. And like how he's in 5 and 6, how he's just kind of there, kind of helping out. He's like a really prominent character in those books. It made me appreciate him a lot more.
Were all 3 of us on the show when I talked about the Lando thing? The Lando news? Or was it just me and Jackson?
You did. I remember this.
Well, I don't remember this.
Okay,
Lando's making the show. Well, Donald Glover is making the
Donald Glover and his brother are writing it, and they're going to write it as a movie now instead of a TV series.
Yeah, and Billy D. Williams is helping write it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that... I wonder what they're going to do with that.
Every Star Wars character is black now, and it ruined it. I can already hear it.
Not with Lando.
Dude,
even though
it's OT.
Even though it's lonely Lando swinging on the peg everywhere you go.
Because we've said it before and we'll say it a billion times. This is a galaxy with hundreds of planets and like so many combinations of people and things can look different ways. It does not matter what a person looks like in Star Wars.
Who was I just talking to? I don't think it was you guys I was talking to about this recently. I think what I love about Star Wars is that racial issues and like sexuality issues don't exist.
Yes.
So
You did talk to us about that.
I hate when fans on either end try to insert it. It's like, just don't. Just let the characters exist and not have like these issues exist between the characters, like in America, how they exist between people, you know, like how people hate each other. It's like, no, it's not. It never was a thing in Star Wars. Please, let's not insert an issue like that into Star Wars. That's for Marvel.
There are
Let Marvel do
differences between the Quarren and the...
That's different though.
That's different though. Yes. But what I'm saying is that exists. But
it's representative, and same with like clone rights in the Bad Batch. That's representative of an issue, a current issue, but it's in Star Wars, so it makes sense for the franchise. They spun it so that it can make sense in universe and send you a message.
Who cares if the Resistance just beat Exegol and then you see two old ladies kiss? Who cares?
I did think it was dumb and out of place though. It was if anybody would have, any two characters would have kissed at that last scene, I would have been like, that was dumb and out of place.
Like the meme that you just showed us, Jacob.
Poe and Finn. Would you rather that? People are shipping them hard.
Nope, absolutely not.
I don't get it personally.
Do not ship.
It's just they're bros. But
they're bros, bro.
Is it like a little out of place? Yeah, maybe. Now that I watch it, I go, oh, that was a thing? No, I don't care. I
cringe at it every time I watch it, just because I remember watching it in the theater.
You're going to tell me that you're going to watch that scene and go, oh, the lady's kissing? That's cringe. When Hamilton is in the shot! Lin-Manuel Miranda, Hamilton is in that shot. You're telling me that you don't see him and go, why are you here?
Here's a hot take. I've never seen Hamilton, so it doesn't affect me whatsoever.
Someone came to Lunchcrafters today. They had a huge Hamilton puffer jacket and said he worked in Chicago and helped with the thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. I was like, dang, bro.
Yeah, that scene now I don't care. I just see Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm just like, dude, get off the screen, please. Get off.
Live Claude reaction.
Then again, when
I watched Rise of Skywalker for Claude.
When that live Claude reaction. When I saw it was like that same vein though of and I'm so glad Star Wars doesn't have stuff like she's got help.
Huh?
Remember in Endgame? In Endgame?
Oh.
She's got it's like I'm so glad Star Wars doesn't
have that. Are you guys
gonna
see the Marvels?
Nope.
See, I was thinking, I was like, well,
nope.
I don't really. I love Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau's
watch it with Hybrid,
really
bro.
cool.
He's excited for the movie.
Well, the thing is that I think the projection's not well, so they're starting to leak details from it. Two songs from the X-Men soundtrack are in it, and then they've been teasing a lot of X-Men stuff around this movie.
I mean,
I just haven't been on with Marvel since Moon Knight.
I just seriously haven't watched anything.
I haven't finished watching Loki, but Loki season 2 started off pretty good.
I've heard it. I've heard it's really good. I'm just not it. Like I've been playing a ton of Marvel Contest of Champions on my phone, but that's because it's all a lot of that's comic versions of the character. I don't know. I feel like I aged out of Marvel and I came back to Star Wars because in high school I was way into Marvel more than Star Wars, so I feel like it just changed. You know.
Mm-hmm. Did you see though that there's a bunch of rumors about them bringing back RDJ, Chris Evans, and
for what?
Scarlett Johansson for an Avengers movie?
For how?
I heard the rumor, but I just don't believe.
How would they do that? Like a prequel?
I don't know.
Multiverse.
Multiverse.
I'm also over that though. I feel like that's the other thing that's been kind of checking me out with Marvel is that's another thing I'm glad that Star Wars doesn't do is the whole multiverse thing. I think if Star Wars does multiverse, it just makes Star Wars like every other franchise right now.
Well, it just makes it lame because if you have the ability to go back in time and change the past and all this stuff at will, or they may have died in this universe but they're still here in this universe, there's no stakes. That's the problem. But with Marvel, it's a little bit out of hand because it's it's the same thing with that show Once Upon a Time. There's a lot of points where it's like a character will die. I'm like, yeah, but they're not really dead. They're going to come back somehow, and they always inevitably do. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't feel like any stakes for anybody because I don't think they're actually going to be dead. So.
Oddly enough, I don't feel that with Star Wars, though. I know that's a complaint that people have about Star Wars, that no one's ever really dead. But it's like if you don't see a character die, they're not really dead.
Not really. I mean, they'll bring back people sometimes.
Through circumstance,
through circumstance. It's never a super over-exaggerated... Yes, Maul getting cut in half and coming back as a robot. That was a little bit...
But he lived through his hatred for Obi-Wan.
But it makes sense.
Explain it,
Want to know what wouldn't have made sense? If Darth Maul showed up in the last episode of Ahsoka.
Yep. Like all these.
You know who you are, and you pawns that follow him. You know who I'm talking about.
He has to do it on purpose. There's no way that he actually thought.
No, he must. He's convinced in his own mind.
Like, how do you gaslight yourself that hard? Like, honestly, dude.
I love gaslighting.
It's so preposterous that was actually a thought that crossed his mind, that he thought that was going to happen. It was so dumb.
Yes, bringing Palpatine back is over-exaggerated, but the point that we're making is...
Well, then again, though, there's no multiverse. I think that's why it doesn't bother me. Like you said, with Once Upon a Time and with Marvel and stuff, in the back of your head when you see someone die, oh, but in another universe... They're still alive.
For once, it's not even like another universe. It's the fact that there's like other realms within this, and like, oh, like this character died. Well, I guess we gotta go to hell to get him back.
Well, and that's why I thought
Hades and Hercules.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys thought of this movie, but I loved Across the Spider-Verse because they took the multiverse concept and changed it so that they had like spoilers that Spider-Man 2099 goes into another universe and like gets rid of himself and ends up ruining the multiverse because he destroys himself in another universe. Yeah.
Everything,
I liked that.
Although it's multiverse, it's contained.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's like consequences.
Right. That's the thing.
But here's something that doesn't make sense now, is that wasn't a principle in the MCU at all. And then in Loki, now time skipping is a thing, which is like the pool that Miles is getting when he goes to a different universe. He's not wearing his bracelet. It's the same thing. So I'm like, how is this coming out of nowhere now? So...
Yeah. Good thing we're not a Marvel podcast.
That is good. Yeah, good thing we're not a Marvel podcast.
You guys remember back in the day when I begged us to do like a Marvel episode?
And I'm glad we didn't.
I just wanted to do one.
We wanted to get Gator, but he wouldn't come on.
Gator wouldn't show up, and yeah.
Gator's
honestly,
a lame.
boss.
He's an op.
But no, so here's my kind of thought on you know how like a lot of movies have been flopping in the box office right now?
Yeah.
And like it's because they're trying to bring back franchises and stuff.
R.I.P. Indy. R.I.P. Indy. That movie is a masterpiece and nobody can change my mind.
So me personally, just in general, I don't judge how good a movie is by how well it did in the box office. And I'm sure you guys feel the same. Like just because a movie did bad in the box office doesn't mean that it like is a bad movie, you know? But I do think though that we are seeing...
Okay, yeah, it was flickering.
Oh, I do think though, and I'm want to get your guys' thoughts on this. My theory is that I think that what we're seeing now is corporations are trying to bring new fans in, and they're so focused on that instead of. I'm not saying you have to cater to anybody when you're making a movie, but if you already have an established franchise, why would you not want to maintain your core audience and then you bring in other people because what you're making appeals to your core? If you have your core, imagine if something that Star Wars came out, like with Ahsoka, let's ignore our vocal minority of people who just make hate mail about everything. With Ahsoka, everyone you talk to is like, oh, Ahsoka's great. And those are already people who are Star Wars fans. Whereas, you know, then other people get drawn in because they're hearing all the Star Wars fans talk about how good this thing is.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I think it's like a money thing. Oh, well, if we draw in X amount of people.
It's definitely a money thing because then they're trying to bank off the money of the existing fans and that whole pot and bringing in new people to give you extra money on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get why you would be willing to, because they're not thinking of it that way.
That's why I think the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is doing so well with the fans.
Because it was made for the fans.
It was made for the fans, and it was made with fans in mind, and that's probably why critics hate it. Granted, the movie's all right.
Critics are lame.
What?
Critics are lame. They're like IGN reviewers, bro. They can't say anything right.
Dude, if my little short film that I'm doing this semester, if it gets enough awards, I can get an IMDb page. That'd be cool. That'd be kind of cool.
That's cool. That's the other thing though, is like the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and that's how I felt about Ahsoka. You heard a lot of people that were like surface level Star Wars going like, "Oh, I'm left in the dust," and it's like, well, yeah, because this was made for Star Wars fans, and if you want to enjoy it more thoroughly, then go back and watch the other stuff before you come into the show. It's we don't have to give you 45 minutes of exposition of everything that you missed to rehash everything. That was something I liked about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, was they did a little like flashback of the prequels, and you could skip it if you wanted to, but then it gets people up to speed for people that have literally maybe they just watched the prequels and this is the first thing they're watching since then. Yep. I feel like that's your best of both worlds. Mm-hmm. But I wonder why. It's just weird to me.
It's weird because we were talking to my class today that you don't need to spoon feed your audience. Your audience is smart, but at the same time, it feels like they always spoon feed the audience because the audience is dumb.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like in a lot of ways, the pendulum is starting to swing back so that you're starting to get, maybe they'll see the monetary success of Five Nights at Freddy's and they'll go, oh, maybe we don't need to make a generic blockbuster film and label it under a franchise in order to have success in the box office. Yeah. The critics took a dump all over that movie, but it made a lot of money for especially considering its budget.
It's the second highest grossing video game movie of all time, and I think it's like the second highest rated video game or third highest rated video game movie of all time. Yeah. It did really, really well.
Yeah, because it was made for the community. Yep. It was not made to try and draw a bunch of people in. It was made for people.
You remember when at the very beginning of when we saw the first movie poster and all the animatronics' eyes were red and everybody's like, this is wrong, they should be silver, this is wrong. And then one person was like, but in the books it says, if their eyes are red, it means that they're being controlled by William Afton. And sure enough, by the end of the movie, it comes to find out that William's controlling them the whole time, and then their eyes turn silver.
Did you know that the people that made the animatronic costumes were the ones that make the Muppets?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know.
It was
the Jim Henson Company.
Jim Henson Studio.
Yeah.
That's kind of
And they do stuff for Star Wars, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that part. Okay.
And the Blumhouse is the main house that made him. They did all the Scream stuff.
But, yeah, so I think that's a good podcast episode for the week.
I feel like that's all I really got to say on that.
Let's hope we don't get canceled.
Why would we get canceled?
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the 1313 podcast.
Bro is tweaking.
I ain't tweaking, bro.
He's tweaking.
Follow us on Instagram.
Hey, that's my line.
YouTube,
and TikTok, and Twitch. And you can also join our channel membership for 99 cents a month.
And if you want to help us out even more, we have a Patreon, and we're giving away the Oppo on the Patreon too at the end of the month. At the end of the month.
And you can join our Discord.
No, it's the 1st of next month. You idiot! If we remember, that is. But is there anything else you got to go over?
No, that's all.
Oh, bye, guys.
Stay cool.
Stay frosty.
Hey, this is Vanessa Marshall. I play Hera Syndulla on Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to the 1313 podcast.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Hum, da, da, hum, da, da, hum, dum, dum, dum.